Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and today I have my long-awaited end of year inventory video. I suspect this will be a long one, so make sure to get yourself something to drink, strap in, get a snack, because we're going to be here for a little while. I have my photos, I have my differences, I have my spreadsheets. It is all in this video. So if you guys have been wanting to see how my numbers have changed over the year with all of my panning goals throughout 2023, then stick around. I'm pretty sure I am posting this video on Christmas Day, so I have my Santa shirt on. So of course I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, and if you celebrate a different holiday or if you do not celebrate, then Happy Monday to you. I hope that December is going well for everybody and that 2023 went well for everyone. If not, then of course, best wishes going into 2024. I want to pause for just a moment to remind you guys at the beginning of a video to do all the things. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe for all of the panning, conscious consumerism, beauty budget, eyeshadow content coming up in 2024. And of course, leave me your comments down below. I love the conversations that we have. We are such a supportive and wonderful group here on my channel. The puppy is of course doing puppy things today, so we will see how I get through this video because like I said, this is going to be a long one, but I have all my graphics loaded, I have all my pictures, I have all my numbers, I have all my comparisons. So let's go ahead and get into my end of year inventory for 2023. So the first category that we are starting off with is kind of one of my favorite categories apart from eyeshadow, but that is my primer category. So I will have my pictures coming up. And so as you guys can see, I currently have 7 primers. I have the mini of the e.l.f. Poreless Primer. I have a mini of the Glow Recipe Niacinamide Dewdrops. I have a Hard Candy Hydrating Makeup Grip Primer. And then I have 4 of the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primers. So at the top of my graphic, you guys can see that at the beginning of the year, I did start with 8 primers. At the middle of the year, during my mid-year inventory, which I will have linked down below, I did have 3 primers, and I'm ending with 7. Over 2023, I was able to pan 7 primers. I decluttered none, and I purchased 6. So that is where we're ending up. I love that this number, the purchase number, is less than the panned number because that means that every year I will keep my primer category in check. Moving on to foundations, I currently do have 3 in my inventory. I have the Shiseido Synchro Skin Radiant Lifting Foundation. I have the Juvia's Place Magic Foundation, and I also have the Misha Perfect BB Cream. So at the beginning of the year, I did have 7 foundations. In the middle of the year, I had 3, and I'm ending with 3. For the year, I did pan a total of 3 foundations. I decluttered 2, and I purchased 1. My objective is to use up all 3 of these foundations in 2024 and be able to purchase some new foundations in the fall of next year. My next category is my mixers. I currently have 2. These are both of the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filters. I have one in fair and one in tan. At the beginning of the year, I did have 5 items in my mixer category. At the middle of the year, I had 6, and I'm ending with 2. So I was able to pan a total of 5. I did declutter 2 in this category, which those were the NYX Bear With Me tinted moisturizer products. It ended up not looking good on my skin, so I did declutter those 2, and I did purchase 4. This category is much the same, where I am panning more than I'm purchasing, and I'm hopeful that these 2 products will last me the majority of 2024, but I'm interested to see if any more items come into my collection next year in the mixer category. Next, we have my powders, and I currently have 5. So I have 3 of the Nikia Joy loose velvet finishing powders. That is my holy grail loose setting powder. So of course I repurchased more of those during Black Friday. I have one of the Rimmel Stay Matte. That is a constant in my collection. I use that for my touch-ups. And then I do have the Makeup Forever powder foundation. That is the powder that I keep in my purse for touch-ups. So at the beginning of the year, I did have 7 powders. In the middle, I had 4, and now I have 5. I did pan a total of 5 powders this year. I decluttered one, which was the Danessa Myricks powder bomb thing that I didn't understand how to use. And then I did purchase 4. For my concealers, this is actually a category that I turned over completely this year. So I used all of my concealers up and had to purchase more this year. So I currently have 3. I have the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I have the Bobbi Brown Corrector Stick. And then I also have the Natasha Denona Hydro Glam Concealer. At the beginning of the year, I did have 5 concealers. In the middle of the year, I had 3, and I'm ending with 3. I did end up panning 6 concealers this year, and that includes me panning the Clinique Better Skin Foundation and Concealer, which is a full fluid ounce. I finally got done with that one at the beginning of the year, and I did have that in my concealer category. So in my mind, I used up a full fluid ounce of concealer, which is a huge accomplishment. But I did not declutter any of my concealers, and I did purchase a total of 4. For my SPFs, I currently have 2. They are both the same thing. They are the Paula's Choice Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense SPF 30. I do run through my SPFs pretty consistently, and I try not to keep too many backups on board. So at the beginning of the year, I did start with 3 SPFs. In the middle of the year, I still had 3, and I'm ending with 2. I did pan a total of 5 SPFs this year. I did not declutter any, and I did purchase 4. Now on to brows. I currently have 6 brow items in my inventory. I have 2 of the ABH Perfect Brow Pencils. One of them is in the box, and the other one is the pencil that I'm currently using. I do have one of the Benefit Gimme Brow Volumizing Pencils. I have an e.l.f. Wow Brow, and then I have 2 of the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setters. At the beginning of the year, I did have a total of 6 brow products. By the middle of the year, I had 5, and I'm ending with 6. I did pan a total of 7 brow products. I decluttered none, and I purchased 7. This is a category that I think I talked about this in my buys and buys for October, because that's when I restocked, is that I consistently go through this amount of brow products per year. So when I purchase my brow products during Brow Day, which is typically like the 1st or 2nd day of October, I am purchasing for the year. So I am hopeful that I will be able to run through all of these products by the end of next year. Now on to bronzers. So I do currently have 7 bronzers. I have the Too Faced Chocolate Bronzer. I have NARS Laguna. I have my Franken Bronzer, which I was hopeful that I was going to be able to use that up by the end of the year, but looking at the usage, I don't think I will be, so I am counting that one in my inventory for the end of the year. I have my 2 Juvia's Place bronzers in those Makeup Geek compacts. And then I have one of these Soul Body Bronzer Bombs that I'm currently using. That's the one with the huge pan on it. And then I do have a backup to start using in the beginning of next year. So I did start the year with 8 bronzers. By the middle of the year, I had 7, and I'm ending with 7. I was able to pan 5 bronzers this year. I did not declutter any, and I purchased 3. Now we are on to blush, and just looking at this picture makes me so happy because I love blush so much. But currently I do have 20 blushes. Now, because I make my own cream blushes by frankening lip products and other things like that, this number has kind of fluctuated because I've added things together to create blushes kind of out of nothing. So if these numbers, if you're like really looking hard at these numbers from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year to now, it might not make sense, but I am just going with what I am ending with at the end of the year. That is my caveat. And puppy just walked under it, everything. So I am ending this year with 20 blushes. I have 3 full size of the Hourglass blushes. I have my Pat McGrath palette that has 2 blushes in it. I do have a Clinique Cheek Pop blush. Coming back over to the left-hand side, I have my Benefit Dallas blush, a Makeup Geek blush in Desire, which you'll see some scrape marks into there because I used that for some frankening. Below Dallas, I do have the Ofra Chick Lit blush, which I mixed together. Underneath the Pat McGrath, I have the ColourPop I Need Space. I have the Jouer Duo, which I did end up frankening the light pink shade in there. That's why it looks like that dark shade, because I used some of Desire to franken into that pan. I do have the Hourglass Ghost palette from a few years ago. And then in my magnetic palette, I have a Physicians Formula blush. I have an e.l.f. blush in Fiji, the small square in the middle, that is NARS Orgasm, and then I do have the 4 shades of the Essence blush in, if I can remember them off the top of my head, what is there? Befitting, Believing, Beloved, and there's one that I'm missing. But that series of blush, I do have all 4 of those in that palette. Over with the cream blushes, in the e.l.f. Powder Compact, I do have just my mix of lip products and stuff. So that is my Franken blush that you guys saw me do some panning work on this year. And then I did create a new blush for myself, and that's in that split pan. So that split pan, the brown shade is the remainder of my lipstick from Virgo Moon, which I did pan earlier this year. And then the more berry side is the ColourPop blush stick in Pretty Thing. So those are my 20 blushes that I am working with. I do not count pans, I just count products. So even though the Hourglass Ghost palette does have 4 blushes in it, that is only counted as 1 product in my collection. That is the way that I do it. That's the way it makes sense to me. So with that, I did start the year with 23 blushes. I had 22 in the middle of the year, and I'm ending with 20. I did pan 3 blushes this year. I decluttered 2, and I also purchased 2. Now we are on to highlighters, and I am ending the year with 6. Now, of course, I do have one of my highlighters frankened into the Tarte palette, and unfortunately, I do not feel like I'm going to be able to finish that highlighter by the end of the year, so that is included in my numbers. So I have 2, technically 3 of the Fenty highlights. The more pinky one is in Girl Next Door and Chic Freak, I believe it is. Then in the middle, I do have a Becca Moonstone. The Fenty one with pans, that is in Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal. I have the highlighter that is in the Pat McGrath Bridgerton face palette. Then I have my Tarte palette. So the 2 shades on the right-hand side are original to the Tarte palette, and then the other shade is the remainder of the Fenty highlight in Mean Money and Hustler Baby. I did start out the year with 8 highlights. I did have 7 in the middle of the year, and I'm ending with 6. I did pan 2 highlighters, I decluttered none, and I purchased none. With how long it takes to use up highlighters, I don't see needing to purchase any for quite some time. Rolling into my setting sprays, I am ending the year with 8. As you guys can see, I have 4 of the Gerard Cosmetics. This is the Slay All Day setting spray in coconut. And then I also have 4 of the e.l.f. Dewy Coconut Setting Mists. These are my 2 holy grails. These are the ones that I consistently use. So I did repurchase these during the Black Friday sale. So I started the year with 8. In the middle of the year, I was at 5, and I'm ending at 8. I did pan 6 setting sprays this year. I decluttered none, and I purchased 6. So my next category, I think, is my largest makeup category, apart from eyeshadow palettes, that went up the most this year. And I'll kind of have a caveat to it with, I worked so hard in 2021 and 2020 to use up the majority of my lip products. I think I used up like 20 something lip products each year because I was just so focused in on getting some of those older products out of my collection. So when I rolled into 2023, I think the oldest lipstick in my collection was from maybe 2021. So I was very diligent about that. So because I got so low on my lip category, I did go and purchase quite a bit this year. But again, these are all things that I feel like I can use up within the next year. So let me just put up my picture and show you guys what I got. So I do have 16 lip products in my collection that I am ending the year with. So starting at the top left, I do have one of the e.l.f. lip oils. That one is in Coral Fixation. I have one of the e.l.f. lip stains that is in Saucy Sienna. I have one of the e.l.f. lipsticks and that is in Dirty Talk. I did repurchase the ColourPop lipstick in Virgo Moon, which I panned earlier this year and severely missed. I do have the Marc Jacobs lipstick in Infamous and the Pat McGrath lipstick in Fembot. I have the NARS Air Matte Lip Color in Chaser. And then moving on to the next row, I did pick up the trio of the Too Faced Hangover RX Bombs. That was their holiday set. Stick around for my buys and buys to see what a good deal I got on those. But it came with a mini of the original, a mini in Holiday Wine, and a mini in Spiced Cider. I did pick up one of the Lawless Forget the Fillers, and that is in Cherry Vanilla. I have the Summer Fridays Balm in Vanilla Beige, the Sephora Gloss in Busy, and the Confession lipstick from Hourglass in If Only. I did repurchase the lip sleeping mask in Gummy Bear, and I'm currently using the Laneige lip treatment as my nighttime balm. So at the beginning of the year, I did have 12 lip products. In the middle, I had 11, and at the end, I have 16. I did pan 10 lip products this year. That is not including all of my chapsticks that I went through. That is just my more higher end or color products. I decluttered none, and I purchased 14. On to lip liners, I have 2 in my collection. They are both ColourPop Lippy Pencils. The top one is in Brink, and the bottom one is in Oh Snap. I did start the year with 3. I had 2 in the middle of the year, and I'm ending with 2. I did pan 2 ColourPop Lippy Sticks this year, which I think is quite an accomplishment because they take about 6 to 7 months each to pan. I decluttered none, and I purchased 1. On to mascaras. So I am ending the year with 6, 2 of those being minis. So we do have the Essence Volume Stylist Lash Extension Mascara. That is my holy grail from the drugstore. I have a full size of the Tower 28 Make Waves and also a mini. I have a full size of the Clinique High Impact and also a mini. And then a full size of the Too Faced Better Than Sex Mascara. I'm currently using the Too Faced and the mini of the Tower 28, and I anticipate those being ready to roll out in January, so it'll be no trouble for me to run through all of these mascaras in 2024. At the beginning of the year, I did have 7. In the middle, I had 4, and at the end, I have 6. I did pan 5 mascaras this year. I decluttered 4, mainly for smudging and flaking issues, and then I did purchase a total of 8. This is another large category, but I am completely fine with this category. I'm talking about my eyeliners. I very much love colored eyeliners. I wear them every single day in my looks, so this category being high does not bother me at all. So I am ending the year with 22 eyeliners. Starting at the far left, I have my Wet n Wild highlighting pencil, and I use that for my inner rim. Then I have the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in Strapless. The shadow sticks, I do count those as eyeliners because that is primarily how I use them. I have 2 from Makeup Geek. One is a nude shade, one is silver. I have 4 from Clinique. I have 3 that are their Intense Eyes formula, and I have them in brown, blue, and black. I have a liquid liner from Clinique, and that is also in black. I have 4 from NYX. I have Chartreuse, Periwinkle, Mauve, and Gilded Taupe. I have 1 pencil from the Sephora brand, and that is their brown in Tiramisu. I have 6 from Urban Decay. I have Wild Side, Alkaline, Overdrive, Stash, Smog, and Vice. I have 3 from ColourPop. 1 is a shadow stick in So Celestial, and then 1 in Get Paid, and 1 in Wildcat. At the beginning of the year, I did have 22. At the middle of the year, I had 19, and I'm ending with 22. I did pan 5 eyeliners this year. I decluttered 1, and I purchased 6. I'm going to skip over eyeshadow palettes for right now because it is my largest category. I will stick it at the end of the numbers. But next we have my eye primers, and I am ending the year with 3. I have my Natasha Denona eye primer, my NYX glitter glue, and my Milani eyeshadow primer. At the beginning of the year, I did have 4. At the middle of the year, I had 4, and at the end of the year, I have 3. I was able to pan 1, I decluttered none, and I bought none. Now we're going to move on to some of my skincare items. So in my moisturizer category, I am ending the year with 8. So I have 4 of the e.l.f. Holy Hydration Daily Moisturizers. I have 1 tube of the Vanny Cream Daily Facial Moisturizer, a tube of the Dr. Jart Ceramidin Cream, a Shiseido Washu Moisturizer, and also an Innisfree Green Tea Moisturizer Mini. At the beginning of the year, I did have 4 moisturizers. At the middle of the year, I had 3, and I'm ending with 8. I was able to pan a total of 7. I decluttered 1, but I decluttered that to a different category that did not actually leave my collection, and I did purchase a total of 12. Looking at my next category, which is my daytime skincare. So I am ending the year with 15. Looking at my picture, I do have my big bottle of my Tower 28, and then also the spray bottle. That is considered one product because I was able to use up everything in the Tower 28 spray, and I have refilled it with the bigger bottle. So we have the Tower 28 SOS facial spray, we have the Innisfree toner, we have 2 of the Innisfree emulsions, I have a mini of the Innisfree green tea toner, 1 of the Innisfree green tea hydrating serums, 2 of the Innisfree cleansers. I have an eye cream from Oasis, an eye cream from Kiehl's, the vitamin C powder from Good Molecules, the Plum Plump hyaluronic acid serum from Glow Recipe, the niacinamide serum from The Ordinary, the caffeine serum from The Ordinary, and then the Watermelon Glow AHA toner from Glow Recipe. I did start the year with 12 products in my daytime skincare. At the middle of the year, I had 10, and I'm ending with the 15. I did pan 15 products this year. I decluttered none, and I've purchased 18. Now on to my nighttime skincare. And of course, the largest number of products is the word that I always have trouble pronouncing, so forgive me for that. But I am ending the year with 11 products in my nighttime skincare. I do have a tube of the Differin Gel. I have a AHA peeling solution from Paula's Choice. It's a wash off type of like 3-minute mask treatment. I have the Weightless Body Treatment with 2% BHA from Paula's Choice, the Murad AHA BHA exfoliating cleanser. I'm saving those top ones for last. I have 2 of the Clinique Take the Day Off Balm Jumbos. I have a Ordinary Rosehip Seed Oil, the Paula's Choice BHA 2% exfoliating liquid. I have 1 of the large containers of the Equate Cream, which is just a moisturizer. And then I have 1 tube from The Ordinary and 2 15% from a prescription of the azelaic acid cream. At the beginning of the year, I did have 18 items in my collection. I had 18 at the middle of the year, and then I'm ending with the 11. I was able to pan a total of 23 items that I consider in my nighttime skincare. I decluttered none, and I purchased 16. Moving on to hair care. So I am ending the year with 7 items in my hair care, and I really have pared this down to my holy grails that work for me and my hair. So I do have a jumbo of the Verb Ghost shampoo. I have one of the Ava NYC Therapy Session hair masks. I have the Ava NYC Main Magic 10-in-1 Split End Mender, the Ordinary Hair Density Serum, the Verb Ghost Oil, the Amika Dream Routine Overnight Leave-In, and then I do have the Ava NYC Main Magic 10-in-1 Primer. I did start the year with 14 products. I had 12 in the middle, and I'm ending with the 7. I was able to pan a total of 14 hair care items. I decluttered none, and I purchased 7. So if you're paying attention to those numbers, the 7 items that I purchased are the 7 items that I have left at the end of the year. So I am very excited that I was able to work through my hair care items throughout the year, and I am able to work all of my older products out of my inventory. This category is a new one that I am tracking because I did bring in quite a few polishes this year, but that is my nail polish. I actually took my nail polish off because I was spray painting something this morning and got spray paint all over my hands. So using acetone to get spray paint off my hands, it took off all my nail polish, and I did not have time to paint them again. But I am having so much fun painting my nails again, and it also helps me grow my nails out more and I'm not a nail biter, but I'm a nail picker, so definitely it has saved my nails that way. But I am ending the year with 15 polishes. So at the very top, I do have an OPI black polish. Now I'm not using that on my nails anymore, and so you guys are gonna have to tell me, should I declutter that and not keep it in my inventory? This is the polish that I use to mark my products for project panning. Like if I have a glass product, I use the black polish to mark my usage on my product. So tell me if I should keep that in or not. I do have a base coat from Essie. It's garbage, and so I probably should get rid of it, but since I paid for it, I might try to use it. The Essie polish that I do have is in Penny Talk. I have 2 base coats from Holo Taco. One is the Peely base coat. That does not work for me. Again, I don't want to necessarily get rid of it, but it's not something that works for me. It's not something I'm going to use. The long-lasting base coat has been amazing, so that's the blue one, and then I do have the Holo Taco top coat. On the second row, I have a few of the cremes from Holo Taco. I have 1 coat black, I have Modest Moss, and then I also have Bring Me the Teal. I have 2 shades that are colored holographic glitter type of colors, and so I do have Holo Cappuccino and Blushed Ice. I love both of those. In the bottom row, we can start with the very pink glittery one, and that one is in Menchie the Cat. Then I have 2 flaky polishes in Fallen Flake Taco and also in Cosmic Unicorn Skin. And then the last one down at the bottom is a purple glitter hollow, and that is in Violet Nightmares. As you can see, I did buy some Holo Taco polishes this year, and I have been loving them, and so I am very thrilled to be getting some more use out of these and painting my nails. But I did start the year with 6 polishes. In the middle, I had 3, and at the end, I have my 15. I was able to pan 4 polishes. I did start a pan that polish at the beginning of the year on Instagram and in my shorts, and I kind of fell off with it, but I was able to pan all the polishes that were in that project, and so that allowed me to make my purchases from Holo Taco. I did not declutter any, but let me know if I should declutter that black to my tools, since I use that for my panning tracking, and then I did purchase 13. So I'm also adding my fragrances to my tracking. I've been showing any fragrances I've been bringing in my buys and buys, and of course any fragrances that I use up, I let you guys see, but I've never actually just been like, hey, here's my fragrance collection. So I am ending the year with 11 fragrances. I have 4 full sizes and 7 travel sizes. So starting at the top, I have the Billie Eilish #1 fragrance. Then I have the Marc Jacobs Perfect. I have Burberry Her Elixir, and then Commodity Milk Expressive. At the bottom with my travel sizes, I have a travel size of the Billie Eilish #1, the Machino Toy 2. I have a travel size of the Marc Jacobs Perfect, Viktor and Rolf Flower Bomb Midnight. I have the Valentino Born in Roma Coral, the Viktor and Rolf Ruby Orchid, and then the Kayali Yum Pistachio. I did start the year with 12 fragrances. In the middle of the year, I also had 12, and I ended with 11. I did pan a total of 3 this year. I believe it is 1 full size and 2 minis. I did not declutter any, and then I did purchase 2. All right, now we are finally on to my palettes. Again, this is my largest category, and I also put the caveat in there that the total number also includes my ColourPop Super Shocks, my Essence single pans, and any liquid shadows. So this full number is not necessarily the number of palettes, it's the number of individual eyeshadow things in my collection, and you'll see. I am ending the year with 67. Since all my numbers are on this first graphic, I'll go ahead and do the numbers in the beginning, and then I will show you the rest of the pictures. So I did start the year with a total of 60. In the middle, I had 63, and I'm ending with 67. I did not pan any because they're eyeshadow palettes, and that's not what I'm not going to use any of them up completely. I did end up decluttering 4 of my eyeshadow products, and I did purchase 11. So on this first picture, I am starting with my Natasha Denona. So I do have the Natasha Denona Metropolis, I Need a Nude, and Yucca palettes. I also have the minis in Love, Gold, Retro, and Zendo. On this next picture, I have my mid-size palettes. So we have Sunrise, Love, and Pastel, Glam, Retro, and My Dream, and then Bronze, Zendo, and Retro Glam. I have a mix of a few brands on this page. So I have my one Pat McGrath Mothership palette. This is the Mothership 9, I believe, in the Utopian Dreams. Then I have the Pat McGrath Bridgerton and the Pat McGrath Sith Seduction, which is the Darth Vader palette. I have 2 palettes from ABH, Sultry and Norvina. I have 1 palette from Sigma, which is the Quarter Rosa, and then 1 palette from Huda, which is the Mercury Retrograde. My next picture, I have some more of my indie palettes. So I have Lethal Nightflower, then I have 2 of my Lethal custom palettes that I made in the black and the green packaging, and then the Lethal palette. On the second row is the Wildflower palette. In the middle there, I have my Glaminatrix Rich Romantics. I have 2 palettes from Cosmic Beauty, which is the Muse palette, and then the Gothic palette. I also have 2 palettes from Odin's Eye, which is the Trick or Treat palette, and the Merry Christmas palette. Here I have my ColourPop shades. So in the magnetic palette is the remnants of my So Jaded palette. Then I have In a Trance, It's My Pleasure, C3PO, The Mandalorian, and then the Child palette. I have a palette of purple shades, which is a palette that I made myself with singles. I have the Winnie the Pooh Sweet as Can Be, and then I have the remnants of my Give It To Me Straight palette. Another mix of brands on this graphic. In the Z palette, I have a mixture of my Sydney Grace and my Makeup Geek shades. Then I have the Tati Beauty Volume 1 and 4 palettes from Viseart, the Paris Edit, the Rosé Edit, the Theory palette in Nuance, and then the Apricot Petite Pro. Here I have my Urban Decay and Too Faced palettes. So I have Urban Decay Naked Heat, Naked Honey, Naked Ultraviolet, and Naked Wild West. I also have Stoned Vibes. For my Too Faced palettes, I have chocolate gold, pumpkin spice, Italian spritz, and just peachy mattes. And the last one is my single shades and my ColourPop Super Shocks. So I don't know what order they're in on the picture, but I'll just tell you guys which ones I have. I have Sail Away, I have Party of Five, and Aster, Colors of the Wind, How Far I'll Go, Sequin, and Birthday Cake. For the Essence Melted Chromes, I have all three of them. I have Zinc About You, Warm Bronze, and Golden Crown. And then the Cover FX Liquid Shadow I have in Soleil. So those are my pictures for all the items in my collection. We're going to get into some of my spreadsheets and my numbers throughout the year to see how everything has changed. So let me go ahead and roll into quarter one. I'll preface this by saying that my perfumes and my nail polishes are not included in these numbers. That was something that I decided to start tracking near the end of the year. I do have a category in here for body care, which I did not show you guys, mainly because it is like shave oil, the after shaving like bump spray type stuff, and body butters, and like my where is it over there, my hemp's lotions. Like, it's not an interesting category. It's also not a category I'm having trouble with, so I did not take pictures of that category, but it is rolled into these numbers. So popping up my graphic, we're looking at the very beginning of the year. So I started with a total of 261 products in my collection. That ranges from all the categories that we talked about: primer, foundation, mixers, powders, concealers, SPF, brows, bronzers, blush, highlight, setting spray, lip products, lip liners, mascara, eyeliners, eye primers, eyeshadows, moisturizers, daytime skincare, nighttime skincare, body care, and hair care. Those are the categories we're looking at. So we started with 261. I was able to pan a total of 32 products in the first quarter of the year. I decluttered 3. I purchased 16, so I was able to reduce my numbers by 19 products in quarter one. So my ending total going into April was 242 products. Looking at quarter number 2, we started with our 242. I was able to pan a total of 41 products. I decluttered 5, and I purchased 30. So I was able to, again, decrease my numbers by a total of 16. So rolling into July, I did have a total inventory of 226 items. Starting with the 226 in quarter 3, I was able to pan a total of 32 items. I did declutter 1, and I brought in 31 items. So I was only able to decrease my number by 2 in quarter 3. So into October, we rolled in with 224 items. With quarter 4, keep in mind that this is Black Friday shopping, and I preface that because this is the only quarter where my numbers went back up. So at the start of October, we did have our 224. I was able to pan a total of 46 items, and I decluttered 9. I did purchase a total of 68 items, which increased my numbers by 13. So at the very end of the year, I am ending with 237 items. So if we're looking at my starting numbers versus my ending numbers and what my differences were, at the beginning of the year, we did start with 261 items. I was able to pan a total of 152 items, and I decluttered 17 items. I did bring 144 items into my collection, and so overall the difference was I was able to decrease my numbers by 25. So our very end is 237 products. If we look at my graphic with my spreadsheets, I was able to decrease my numbers in all the categories except for brows. We broke even, but that's because I use up the amount of brow products that I brought in. I will use those up in a year. My setting spray number stayed the same because, again, those are items that I consistently will go through what I'm bringing in. I did go up 4 items in lip products, but we discussed that. My eyeliners did stay the same, but of course I want to make sure that I panned 5. So it's okay that I brought in some more eyeliners. I'm okay with that category staying the same. My eyeshadow products did go up by 7. My moisturizers went up by 4. My daytime skincare did go up by 3. Everything else I was able to reduce my numbers in. So what are we looking at rolling into 2024? I am going to start tracking my perfumes. So I did add my perfumes to my numbers. So if we were ending the year with 237 and I have 11 perfumes, we are starting the year with 248. So to me, all of my numbers look really, really good. I understand having 67 eyeshadow products and probably bringing in more next year. I have made peace with that. That is a category that I understand is going to grow. I am not somebody to consistently declutter eyeshadow palettes, so I'm okay with that number. Everything else to me looks really, really good. Everything else in my collection has a purpose. It has a meaning. It's going to get used up in the next year. So a lot of these products, I'm going to have to repurchase things next year that will resupplement me for 2025. So I am very, very excited about my panning goals and my panning journey for next year. I'm also going to be filming my empties videos, so I will have makeup and perfume in one video and then like skincare and body care in another. So stay tuned for those. But let me go ahead and for the last few minutes of this video, I want to jump over to my actual spreadsheets and do some screen recordings and let you guys see how my spreadsheets are set up for the end of the year and what they're looking like. So starting off with my primers, I have my 7 primers listed here, and my total number for my primers is I have $60.19 in primers. I was able to use up a total of $52.58 in primers this year. Going over to my foundations, $65 in foundations, and I was able to use up $111 in foundations. For my mixers currently are at a cost of $16.40, and I was able to use up and or declutter, because I have them all listed together, $67.15 worth of my mixers. For powders, my inventory total is $123.30. And then for my empties, it was $97.10. For concealers, I do have only high-end concealers right now in my collection, so $79.60, but I was able to use up a total of $115.74 in concealers this year. For my SPFs, I do have a total cost of $57.35, but I was able to use up a total of $129.90 in SPFs. For brows, I do have a total inventory cost of $78.61, and I used up a total of $87.87 in brow products. For my bronzers, we're at $63.49 for the inventory and $85.41 for the empties. For my blushes, we do have a total cost of $376.81, and then the empties, we are looking at $41.39, with 2 of those being declutters. For the highlighters, we do have a total of $173.32, and then $34 in empties. In setting sprays, we are at a total of $71.89 and a total empties of $55.92. For the lip products, we do have a total inventory cost of $299.30. And then for our empties, we are looking at $127.67. For our lip liners, we are at a grand total of $10.21 with a total empties of $12 even. Mascaras, we're looking at $76.47 for our inventory cost, and for our empty and declutter cost, we are at $73.60. A lot of times when I do have the trial size or the minis of the mascaras that come in like Sephora codes that you put in and you can get an extra in your order, I usually only have a cost of about $5 assigned to those. For our eyeliners, I do have to scroll a little bit on this one, but we do have a total cost of $264.65. And then for our empties and our one declutter, we're looking at $73.80. For our eye primers, we do have a total inventory cost of $23.50 and a total empties of $23 even. Next, we have our eyeshadows, and I am going to have to scroll for this one. So we are coming all the way down, just so you guys can see how I have everything laid out in my inventory. So for our total cost for eyeshadows, we are at $2,569.25. And I do have another category over here for total number of pans. And so I do have 739 pans of eyeshadow. Looking at our cost for declutters, I ended up decluttering $46 worth of eyeshadow for a total number of 17 pans going out of my collection. For moisturizers, I do have a total cost of $82.79, which is not so bad because a lot of times high-end moisturizers cost about $80 per tub, so I'm okay with this amount. But for our empties, we did have an empty of $212.93. The higher ticket items in there that of course have the FFF next to them, those are from FabFitFun boxes. Those are retail cost, of course, not the cost that it breaks down for in my box. For daytime skincare, we do have a total inventory cost of $279.14. And if we go down to our empties, we have a total cost of $227.49. For nighttime skincare, we did have a total inventory cost of $253.25. And if we scroll down through our empties, we will see a total empties of $506.79. I'll give you a peek at my body care. I do have some face masks, some of my shower things, my lotions, my body oils, any of the scrubs that come into my collection. So this is what we're looking at with my body care. So I do have a total of $121.42. And then for my empties, I do have one thing that was decluttered, but we're looking at $375.33 for my empties. For hair care, our inventory is worth $138.04, and our empties is worth $343.07. There's quite a few products in this list from FabFitFun, so of course those higher ticket items I probably did not pay full price for. For my perfumes, I do have a total cost of $525, and my empties are worth $123. For nail polishes, I do have a total inventory cost of $168.99, and then my total empties was $35.25. This might be a fun category to take a peek at. It's not in my inventory, it's not in my budget. This is just my sponges that I'm keeping track of. For my total inventory of sponges, I do have $95.20, and my total sponges that I was able to consider done and used up this year, it was $66.90. So that was my entire inventory of my beauty and makeup items that I track. I have spreadsheets dedicated to them, and definitely items that I am mindful about what I'm bringing into my collection. I kind of ask you guys, is there any categories that you guys are surprised by as far as in my inventory? I think I've been very kind of open and honest about what's going on in my collection. And I know that you guys have also asked for a tour of the actual drawers about how I organize everything, so that will be coming as well. But was there anything about my inventory that was shocking or that surprised you guys? Is there anything about my makeup consumption? Because of course I went over the number of items that I was able to use up in a year. Is there anything that was surprising as far as how quickly or how not quickly I end up using up items? Let me know. I'm curious about your feedback. These videos are always fun to do, but I want to know what you guys think about my inventory. I know a lot of you have also been using my spreadsheets to create your own inventories. So of course I will have the link to the Google spreadsheet down below. Of course, that spreadsheet is read only. You guys cannot go in there and edit it, but please feel free to copy and paste these spreadsheets into your own spreadsheet program. The formulas should copy over with you so that with the inventory sheet, when you put in your items and your pans, your declutters, and your purchases, it should automatically do the math for you and pre-fill the next quarter. So if you have not already done your inventory, if you guys are looking to get a little bit better at tracking, make sure to check out the link down below to my spreadsheets. I know they have been very helpful to a lot of the people that have found my channel this year. Since I did have 11 palettes come into my inventory this year, I will have a video coming up ranking those 11 palettes and letting you guys know what I think about them. Today I do have shades from the Odin's Eye Merry Christmas palette on. I thought it was very appropriate since I do plan on posting this video on Christmas Day. This is not my last video of the year, but I did want to take the opportunity to say thank you to each and every one of you who has found my channel, watched this year, subscribed, left me comments. I feel like I've gotten to know so many of you, and we've developed this community of just support and understanding that some of us have fallen down the hole of just purchasing too much makeup. To some of you, my collection might seem like too much makeup, but I hope by being very transparent about my numbers, about my budget, about what I'm bringing in, what I'm using up, I hope that you guys were able to see that everything that I'm bringing in is pretty much getting used up throughout the year. And that is the comfortable place that I have worked so hard to get to. And I know that so many of you have discussed your plans and goals for next year to get to the point where you are using up what you're bringing in, to where you are feeling comfortable about your consumption, about your purchases, about how much stuff is around you. And I just think that you guys have made this such a special place on YouTube. You guys have made me excited about coming on here and filming videos and putting things out on the internet about myself. You guys have made this wonderful and worthwhile and have been such a bright spot in my life in 2023. So very, very sincerely, I say thank you to each and every one of you. You have made this a special and magical and fantastic place to be this year. But without any more blubbering on from me, I want to remind you again to do all the things. Make sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more. We have lots of great stuff coming up in 2024. Drop me that comment down below. Let me know how you guys are doing. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. You all are fantastic, and I wish you a beautiful day. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a beautiful new year to everyone. I will catch you in my next one.